So we were all talking before this just about kind of where the movement goes from here. Obviously, Bernie, like, officially is still running, but most people think it's now moving to, short of an indictment or something like that, it's now moving to how do we keep his momentum going with him not as president. There's a risk people could get deflated or whatnot, but you guys have all been involved, volunteering for the senator, among other things. So talk to me about, obviously you gave a speech last night. Where do you see things going, and how do you plan to continue to be active regardless of the election results?
Yeah, definitely for us that have been really involved with the campaign, I think we see that it needs to be the ground game stuff. I'm definitely worried about the people that are not so involved, that voted for him but think, oh, the movement's gone. Now what do I do?
Well, what do they do?
Get involved on the local level. Get out, keep voting, just research people. Don't just sort of settle and say, oh, like I was always like, oh, I'll vote for the Democrat. And now you actually get involved, and it's become more about the issues and not so much like, oh, well, they're pro-choice, I'll vote for them. So yeah, you just got to learn about it, I guess.
And there's definitely still the Bernie or bust discussion. I won't blow up your spot, but you definitely have some thoughts on that from discussions. Bigger than like Bernie or bust, I want to see, because the media paints it as like young people, they're just so reckless and they can't see the big picture, just, suck it up, hold your nose kind of thing. Why is it that for you see Secretary Clinton potentially as more of a threat than a Donald Trump?
I see her as potentially worse because we actually have a track record for legislation that has destroyed so many lives in this country and around the world. And to be a leader is to be courageous in a time when the lives of the most vulnerable people in this country and the world are at risk. And Hillary Clinton, I'm afraid, has not done that in so many instances when she had the opportunity and the privilege to do so. And I'm not entirely sure that I can take Donald Trump seriously. I can take his supporters seriously, and I think that if he's elected into office, that we may now have some kind of ultimate permission now to act violently towards people through bigotry, through sexism, through all sorts of discrimination. So that's what I definitely fear. But he flip-flops all the time, as does the secretary. But it's based on ratings, and I don't think he actually seriously wants to be president. I think she seriously does, and unfortunately for the wrong reasons. And I think that we have a serious track record for her proving time and time again that she actually does not stand up for working families of this country, nor LGBTQ plus community members or people of color. It's just between the pandering and the flip-flopping, I just feel like it's a different level of like being insulted, to be quite honest. Like anytime I'm approached by a Donald Trump supporter, I'm clearly, a woman of color, and I think assault's a really strong word, and I don't like using that word, but I think it's somewhere along the lines of that. But I think when people expect me to vote for Hillary Clinton because she's the lesser of two evils, I think that is exactly what has programmed us to not continue fighting for what Bernie Sanders is fighting for and has been fighting for 40 years. So I think that that's really what this distinction is. It's not Bernie or bust. It's Bernie, the issues, and how we move forward with bold, progressive change.
Are you one of the 11,000 people that signed up last night to run for office? Bernie put out that after he gave this online speech, basically urging supporters to get involved, like less than 24 hours, there's already 11,000 people. You kind of sound like one of them. You're very well-spoken, articulate. We'll get back to that. Now, Cenk, my fearless boss, he puts it very well. He talks about, you either want no change, you either get the no change candidate or the fascist. The no change candidate or who the hell knows. But I think something that's kind of been, people have been awoken about this election is that the no change is not just this like slight, okay, we'll still go along, but it's okay because things are okay. No change for some people is crisis. I just interviewed a woman in Indiana who's struggling to pay the rent. I've interviewed a lot of people like that. So if there's no change or little change here or there that doesn't really help them, people need immediate relief. So in terms of not Hillary versus Trump, but just like the philosophy of voting, how do you look at it where, okay, you could elect someone who's a grenade, or you could elect someone who's arguably Barack Obama to the right?
I think that we should go not to the right. We'd have to go with the unknown, because I think we do need big change. We can't do what we have been doing for the past years, and she's the face of the establishment right now, and nothing is changing. And like you said, there's little change here and there, or no change, but I think if we do something unknown, it will be bigger, we'll be more aware, even if it does go in the dark, way. But
the Trump thing's a whole different thing. It's like you said, it's the sudden death or the slow death. My only case for Trump is that it's going to blow up, and the country and the world are not going to settle for it. So we'll find some way to deal with him if it does become him. Yeah.
I think one thing that might have hurt Bernie in terms of the pundits, he compared climate change just as much of a risk as terrorism. And, they were like, oh, how can you even equate the two? I mean, you die either way. One is more unpredictable because you don't know how many people are going to die in a terrorist attack. You don't know where. One is like the end, possibly all at once. Do you think that some of his ideas to young people were very refreshing, but the masses, or what we call the status quo, they're just so used to kind of like the way things are and the status quo that they thought he was kind of pie in the sky?
Yeah, definitely with the climate change comment. It's so hard for people to look into the future on those sorts of things. But if you look at the population of Africa right now, we're having a huge population boom. And then you look at climate change, and Africa now has 20 days of the year where it's unbearably hot. Next 100 years, they're going to have 200 days. So that massive population in Africa is now moving up north. They're getting away from the heat. And so it will become a threat, not necessarily, but it's the same argument. In the Middle East, too. It's going to be a water crisis. And
yeah, Bernie was one of the only politicians I've ever heard talk about water shortage for the Palestinians in Gaza. That's like politics 101 not to do that, and he did it. What about you? Was there something, whether it was something he said or one of his policies or something you saw at one of these rallies that kind of spoke to you and you realized, wow, this is something different than what I typically hear, just like the standard political speak?
When something like this so profound happens, you don't actually quite register what that click was. I think it was just the whole paradigm shift. I finally felt like our voices in this country actually are mattering, and people were storming the gates and we're making our voices heard, and people are paying attention. He's won 22 states and I guess around 46% of the pledged delegates, and he's a democratic socialist Jew from Vermont who's 74 years old, and he's a white dude. As someone who's not that, I think it's definitely where I thought I wouldn't have gone. But that statement in itself, I guess, kind of articulates what this is about. Is that it transcends gender, race, sexual orientation, ableism, all of those qualities. When you look around and see how many people are in this hall right now and the diversity of this, it really goes to show how powerful this movement has been beyond the nomination process. But people feel like not just young people who have been marginalized from day one, and the deck has been stacked against them, that finally we actually may have a chance to actually influence legislation and who we want to see representing us.
And just for the record, for my old Jewish friends in Vermont, we do love you. I'm just kidding. I kind of am interested because when I've been around the country, when you meet older women, maybe not the first thing, but second thing is, oh my God, glass ceiling, and wouldn't it be great? And I'm not a woman, so I try not to judge, but I've always found that kind of perplexing a little bit. I understand a lot of these women kind of came up in the feminist movement and the women's rights movement, but it seems odd to me that that would be maybe subconsciously the main reason you're voting for someone. Some of them consciously, and they say it. Do you guys feel any kind of bittersweet that you can't bring yourself to support Hillary?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Clinton Foundation pays the women less than the men. So there you go. She does not stand for feminists.
And I don't know the full details, but something about she didn't pay, about her interns. She either didn't pay them or paid them very little. So, equal pay for women, but yeah.
If she's not doing it for her own company, she's not going to do it for us.